So you're trying to quit drinking and you're looking for help. In this video, I'm going to go over 7 programs that can help you quit drinking. This video, I'll go over the general ideas of each program. And then if you see a link pop up, it's a video that I did a deep dive on each of the programs. So this video is going to be general overview. And then each of the video links is going to be if you want to know more about any one of the programs that I mentioned in the video. So we'll get right into it. The first program is probably the most well-known. It's Alcoholics Anonymous. Even though it's called Alcoholics Anonymous, it's great for quitting alcohol and it's great for quitting drugs. A lot of people do both, and it's widely accepted. It's not like an only alcohol type program. And then they also have Narcotics Anonymous. So if you're addicted to other kinds of drugs and you just want to be they also have Narcotics Anonymous and even Cocaine Anonymous and different groups depending on how big your city is. There's a variety of different programs that you can find for whatever you're addicted to. But for this and alcohol, this program, the basis of it is in community. So the number one thing is there's meetings, and more likely than not, there's a meeting 20 minutes, 30 minutes away from you, if not closer. Probably the most far-reaching program in the world, and I think they've been around the longest. Okay, so Alcoholics Anonymous, the basis of it is in kind of probably 3 parts. So the first kind of structure of it is it started with just alcoholics meeting together, and that's really the strongest basis of it. Is it has meetings all around the world, and chances are there's a meeting close to you. And so that community getting together, changing your environment and being around sober people and around people that can show you how they did it, that's probably the most powerful part of the program. The next is this program put together a book. So many years ago, they wrote a book of Alcoholics Anonymous. In the program, what they call it the Big Book. It lays out ways to quit drinking. It lays out experiences. It lays out testimonials and different stories about people that quit drinking, so it can be very relatable. One thing about the book, it was written like in the 50s or something like that, and so some of the language can be outdated. And then the next part is that book has 12 steps in it. So it's a 12-step program. And this is a framework for quitting drinking. So you just start at step 1, and it's teaching you these skills and lessons. And really, like, it's not just about quitting drinking when you start to get into it. And that I'm telling you now, it's actually a self-development program. And they don't market it like that, or they don't project it as that. But really, if you break down those steps and break down what the book says, like, it's really about learning about yourself and learning to deal with your problems. And so this program, whether you're into it or not, one of the biggest themes is that it's a faith-based program. And some people have a problem with that. There's a lot of people that say, like, it doesn't have to be any one type of God, but God is mentioned quite often. And one of the first things that it talks about is that God can be anything that you want it to, but it's just having a higher power, having some spirituality, but basically realizing we're not doing this just on our own, but there's a higher power that we can rely on that can help us through that. So I don't think it's an issue in the program, and I see it as, like, if you have a problem with the God term, it's a opportunity to get over that and kind of be forgiving and have compassion, and also you might have a coming to God experience, which many people have. So that's Alcoholics Anonymous, general overview. The next one is Refuge Recovery. And this program is similar in structure to Alcoholics Anonymous. There's meetings, which is a huge part of it. There's a book, which lays out the steps, lays out the guidance for the program. But this is a Buddhist approach to recovery. They also are, in Alcoholics Anonymous, you call yourself an alcoholic and you admit that you're an alcoholic and you have alcoholic tendencies. In the following programs. Typically, a lot of them say I'm in recovery rather than labeling yourself as an alcoholic, which to some people it implies that you will always be an alcoholic and you'll never get over it. In certain programs, you say I'm in recovery in the sense that you can recover and get better, or like, not be an alcoholic anymore and not have those tendencies in some way. But so refuge recovery, Buddhist approach. So the meetings are structured a little bit different. In these meetings, you actually go and they do a reading and then you do a meditation, which I thought was really cool. Then you get to share. So also in the Alcoholics meeting, you get to share in the meetings. There's readings out of the book and you get to share. But back to refuge recovery. So a lot of, in the book, when you read it, it's a lot of intertwined Buddhist philosophy. And there's a lot of information about addiction and letting go of those addictions in Buddhism. So if you don't want the pure God approach, then the Buddhist approach is a nice option. And the program, it's not quite as big, so you might need to be near a major city, but their website's great, and they also really encourage starting a meeting. So if you wanted to start a Buddhist meeting, oftentimes too, they'll have someone from a bigger city or established meeting come and help you start your meeting. So there's a lot of support if you want to spread these meetings, which is really cool. And then the next one, kind of going on the same vein, is Y12SR, which is yoga for 12-step recovery, which I thought were great. I've been to several of the meetings, and it's cool because you get to do a yoga class. And then they don't have a book, but they have yoga teachers that are trained, or not necessarily, yoga teachers that are trained in this special program. So NAME stands for Yoga for 12-Step Recovery. So this is kind of in combination with the 12-step program, most likely being AA. There are some other 12-step programs, but it is really like AA without saying that it's AA. By AA, I mean Alcoholics Anonymous. But the program's awesome. It's really simple. And I see this more as like a supplement to another program, because there's not a book and there's not a lot of deeper personal work that you do on your own. It's more like you just have the yoga classes you can go to, and then they also have a reading and a sharing in the class. So it's like going to an AA meeting, but with yoga, which I thought I kind of like to mix it up and go to AA meeting and then go to a refuge recovery meeting and go to a Y12SR, to mix it up throughout the week, just because I like variety, but they have different benefits to each program. So check that one out. And then again, as a reference, if you see the link on the screen, then you get to see the deep dive into the programs. The next is Smart Recovery, which I'm not as familiar with, so I'm really looking forward to the deep dive video. But their thing is basically, if the God thing is too much for you and you don't want a part of that, then it focuses on self-empowerment and science-based recovery. So it's a recovery program, so you're in recovery, but it's also similarly structured where they have a lot of online resources and videos that you can watch, and then they have a whole assortment of meetings. And they really emphasize the online meetings and also in-person meetings. So if you want something that's not so God or spiritual heavy, then you can go this, and it's really more focused on the personal development side and self-empowering, working through self-empowerment to recover and to quit drinking. And I really like the fact that they have so many videos about recovery, because you don't always want to go to a meeting, or if going to your first meetings can be really nerve-wracking, but I think it can also be a big step to be determined to get sober. But it's also nice to have those first videos or kind of that introduction content. So depending on do you want to work with another person directly? Do you want to work through videos and online materials? There's a lot of different options. So leads me to the next one with different options, how intense of a program do you want? So those first ones I mentioned too, the first 4 are free. and they just ask for donations. They're all self-supporting programs, so there's no need to pay a membership or anything like that. You can just show up and not give anything, or more often than not, you see the power of the group and you want to donate something, donate whatever you can, and it helps the mission go on. But the next thing would be an outpatient rehab, which you can just look up. There's a lot of clinics that do outpatient rehab, but basically you would go once or twice a week or however many times they ask you to go. And it's similar to the others where you like have a meeting and share, but all the programs are going to be different, whether they have you do homework or ask you to do other tasks, and then also have you be in the group and share. And then they have a much more strict tracking system of how much you're staying sober. Oftentimes, they'll want you to restart the program if you relapse or have a mess up. And so sometimes, like most of them, you have to pay for. I'm not aware of ones that you don't, but with that, a lot of times insurances will cover. So you could also contact your insurance to see if they know any outpatient rehabs you go to. So it's a little bit more intense if you want that kind of supervision. The facilitators are generally checking in with you and keeping track of your sobriety and things like that. And then on to the next, a little bit more intense. So depending on the degree that you need to actually go to an inpatient rehab, which is typically for 30 days, depending on the rehab, you could go for more or less. And there's a wide variety of rehabs you can go to all over the country. A lot of times they're pretty expensive, but some of them have like scholarships. And then sometimes your insurance, if you have health insurance, will also pay for that. So you could potentially find a list of rehabs through your insurance. Otherwise, just Googling them. I'm also going to do a deep dive on rehabs. So finding ones, maybe even take some tours of some rehabs just to see, because there's a wide range of facilities. There's like, rehab for the rich and famous that are like on the beach with yoga. And it's like basically like a beautiful retreat, but you're quitting drinking. And then there's the other ones that are just like the basic, like just I need to stop and I need to be supervised and be totally out of my environment. So these, you actually go somewhere and typically stay there in a facility for 30 days. Maybe it's just in a house, or maybe it's more clinic-y feeling, but it's an inpatient rehab. So you're there, no alcohol, being monitored, and you do groups. A lot of times they do activities, like I know some of them play pickleball or ping pong, or do different outings to like still keep it fun. It's not like you're in prison, you're just like being supervised, but you can't really like work your job while you're there because you have to be there. So that can be a big limiting factor. And then the last one would be quitting on your own. And this I will be making a video about, of tips if you want to go on your own. It's also, if you're doing it all on your own, you still want to have some sort of program to help you stay on the path, help you stay reminded, help you be aware of what you're trying to do. So, but it can be simply like continuing to watch videos about sobriety or getting some of the sober apps. I'll also, if you see a link here, I made a video about all the sober apps that I could find. And really there's like assortment of ways to do it. But, if you're just the type of person that does it on your own, then, more power to you. A lot of times when you're trying to do it on your own, if you're really having a tough time, it's like a lesson where you need to let someone help you, or like you need to learn how to ask for help. Some people are just super capable of doing that by themselves, but it can be really lonely at the same time. But if you do want some tips to stay on that path, then check out that video that I made. Otherwise, those are the programs. And if you want to just see the general idea of quit drinking, then check out this video at the end. Otherwise, let me know if you like the video, and let me know in the comments, like, are you quitting drinking? What program you're going to go to? What programs did I miss? I'm always looking for other programs. And let me know when you quit drinking, or if it's in the future, or how long it's been. So I'd love to know these things and connect further. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next video.